Back in the kitchen, Kitus Cooks, but it's more than Kitus Cooks today. It's Kitus and Martin Cook. This is Robert Martin, one of my students. He is a professional at making pasta. He wanted to work with me today on making our pasta online on camera. So Robert, introduce yourself. Say hello.
Well,
you want to look at the cameras over here?
Well,
okay.
I'm chef's helper today. And by making pasta, we mean making the actual noodles.
Exactly.
This is going to be really cool. You got to see it.
Good job. So what do we start with, Robert? We've got a recipe here. Let's get going.
First of all, this recipe calls for 4 eggs.
4 eggs. We got them right there. And we've got room temperature eggs.
Yep.
Makes it a little easier. And we're doing it Robert's method. So Robert's going to crack them eggs. We're not going to walk each eggshell to the trash, right? We're going to get them all together.
Speed things up.
And speed things up, exactly. There we go. Looking good. And these we're going to put into our compost pile. All right, what goes next, Robert?
So next up, we need
some flour, right?
2.5 cups.
Of what?
Flour.
Flour, okay. He's got 2.5 cups of flour, and now we're using all-purpose flour. With this, you could add some semolina flour.
Like I did the other day.
Like the other day.
We're out.
Yeah, we ran out of semolina, and I forgot to get it at the store this morning, of all things. I know, shame on you, chef. So into the egg mixture, he's adding his.
And of course, at home, I use a special pasta mix from King Arthur flour.
There you go. Robert cooks a lot at home, so he is really good at this, and we're really happy to have him helping me out.
I kind of know what I'm doing.
He does. He really knows what he's doing. He's got a mind of his own, don't you, Robert? And we got new measuring cups today, and they're all hooked together, and so it kind of sounds like. Here, give them to me. I want to.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like the cows coming down from the mountains in Switzerland. Okay.
It sounds like music too.
It does, yeah. So what's next, Robert? So we got.
This recipe calls for a tablespoon of olive oil.
We've got some olive oil, and here.
And we need a teaspoon of fine salt.
Some salt also. Okay. So he's got everything almost ready. Grab that salt. You see where it's at? I've got it right here, Robert.
That's pretty much all the ingredients.
And then what happens? What magic happens now, Robert?
We start kneading it.
And so what's that attachment you're using? Is that
this attachment here is called a dough hook.
Now look at these cameras.
For kneading dough.
Exactly. And then what does it do? It just incorporates everything a little slowly. It doesn't do it all at once. It kind of works everything in. It works it together.
Baby steps.
Yep, one step at a time. So what happens once it's made? What do you do with the dough?
You see, when it's made, we then form it into like a disc shape, wrap it in plastic, and then chill it
for how long? About a half hour, maybe an hour?
Like
and that really helps the dough set up, form itself. It becomes it gets like rubbery or pliable, so we can really work with it and run it through our machines here. So,
no, there may not be enough for the flour, enough liquid for the flour to absorb.
Right. So what happens when that happens?
So to combat that, I add a tablespoon of water at a time.
Okay, so here we go. I've got some water right behind you. So we add a little bit of water in there. We don't add a lot because you can't take water out, but you can always add a little more. So
if needed.
If needed. And so you see, if you can get that camera view in there, you can see that the, go ahead. Oh, there we go. All right, see how yep, you want to bring that camera over here? You can get in there and look how that dough is really starting to pull together. And see, it's a little bit dry, so he might.
Still not quite enough liquid for the.
Yeah, Robert's going to go with a little more liquid. A little bit of liquid at a time will do.
Yep, 1 tablespoon at a time, like I said before.
Yes, like he said, one at a time. why don't you run and get the dough that you already made, and we'll be ready pretty quick to roll that one out. So that's looking really good. Robert's so good at making this pasta. I never do it myself now. I say, Robert, I need you. I need you to make pasta. Today, later on in class, we're not going to do it in our presentation right now, but we're going to also make some gluten-free pasta. So we have some gluten-free flour. Oh, look at that. And with the gluten-free...
So, when you chill your dough, this is what it's supposed to be like.
And look at that. Why don't you go ahead and open it up, because we're about ready to start working with it. So what happens is it gets to almost like a pie dough consistency. So it's not sticky, it's not wet, but it's got it's pliable. You can move it around. Why don't you show them how you can work that dough around like that? See, it kind of pulls like that. So that's exactly what we wanted. Okay, Robert. So you might add a little more water in that. That's going to almost be ready here.
Almost there.
Almost there. That's what we like. So why don't you go ahead and do you put this whole thing in the machine, or what do you do now?
Well, we take small pieces off and...
Oh, you break it down? So why don't we get my knife here.
I think we should first...
Why don't you go ahead and cut it into smaller pieces so we're ready to go with it. And show them, what do you do? Do you break it? Do you crush it down, or how do you get it all ready to go here? Come on, Robert, you gotta talk more.
So, I normally press it like this.
All right, good. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, speed things up a bit. This dough is almost ready. So we'll turn it up a bit, really whip it together. And then what Robert's gonna do is he's going to, oops, look at me, go. He's gonna go ahead and insert the attachment that we use to roll out our dough. So what's that attachment look like? I want to show you to the camera right here. This one right here, Robert.
This one's flat
right here.
Inside.
Perfect. All right. And so see what happens. He has to press. Go ahead and put it on there, Robert. We press it down like this because if it's like this, it's too thick to go through that machine. Yep. And so what Robert's done, he's broken it down to like a more workable piece of dough. And also, see, he's got it in a nice rectangle.
Yeah.
So it'll go through.
Now watch what happens.
We'll keep an eye out. Oh, looky there.
And on one, I kind of like to put it through a second time.
And what he does is usually he will take that, he'll make the it smaller every time. So.
See, then put it on a piece of parchment paper.
All right, let me see if I can help you out with this. How do you do that? You push it together like that?
Yep.
Okay. Boy, it looks easy, but it's also quite a workout, huh?
Yep.
I'm going to have some pretty
I know
big
what I'm doing,
pecs.
though.
Oh, you do? Let me see. Okay. And he's going to run it through a couple times, he says. That's a nice long looking piece there. We're getting it a lot thinner the second time. You got to be careful with your fingers. You never want to get them stuck in that machine, do you, Robert?
Dangerous.
Yep.
But I know what I'm doing.
You sure do. Let's do one more.
I've done this several times before.
Yeah, he does this a lot. So let's go ahead, Robert, run it through there. And we won't do all of this. What we'll do is next we'll run it through the whatever size pasta, Robert. So what type of pasta are you going to make today?
I normally do fettuccine.
Robert likes to do fettuccine, so he's going to run it through. Now, if you're doing this and you've got the machine too thin, what it's going to do is going to rip the dough. So you got to be really careful feeding it through there. That's beautiful, Robert. So let's go ahead and get your fettuccine. There we go. So he's going to switch out the attachments. I'll put that. Give me that attachment.
Okay,
One
now
thing.
what this looks like, it has these things.
Exactly. See, so it's a lot thicker. It's not spaghetti. It's thicker than spaghetti is, which you'll see. And also, a quick note, when you're done with these, don't run these through the dishwasher. You just wipe them off.
Yep.
You've had flour on them. That's all you really need to do. If you run them through the dishwasher, they often don't dry correctly.
Now wait till you see this.
Watch this. This is really exciting. This is where everything comes to a head. Okay, Robert, go right ahead. Oh my goodness. Look at what's going on here. Looks like you're making zombie hair. Zombie dreadlocks. Oh, Eric could tell us all about dreadlocks.
Beautiful.
Eric, you got a picture of you in dreadlocks? Come on, buddy, we need to see that. Nothing? Darn it. Can you bring it to school tomorrow? Look at that. Now watch what he does. He grabs that when it comes out and he lays it right here on our parchment paper. Now one thing I showed Robert yesterday, oh, that one's putting up a fight, is what you'll do often with these to save space. What you can do is kind of work them together like that. So then when we put them in the water, we can make each one will be one single serving. So it's kind of fun to play with these things. I'm going to go ahead, I've got some boiling water, so I'm going to go ahead and put our pasta in the water.
Fresh pasta doesn't take very long.
Nope, it's
unlike dry pasta.
Dry pasta takes a little while. Okay, look at there. Why don't you go ahead and put that directly into the water, Robert, and then go stir it.
Yep.
And we can turn that off. Stir it. We've got some.
Use a set of tongs to stir.
There's some tongs right behind you, sir. All right, so it's all coming to a head. So while he's doing that, I put a little bit of. We're going to saute it in some. I did some olive oil here with. It's garlic scented olive oil, and we're going to add some garlic to that. We're going to get that garlic cooking, and then we're going to, once the pasta's ready, what Robert will do, he'll put it directly in that olive oil, and you can push one of those Parmesan cheeses over here. Perfect. Can you grab me a little bowl to put in? Thanks. Look at that. So that's almost ready, I think, Robert, right?
Yep.
Look at that. He's doing so good with that. We'll go ahead and now these are a little thicker noodles, but you can run them through
like 5 settings like I do at home.
Yep, you can run them through more settings to get a thinner noodle. So there we got some nice garlic look to it, browning up like that. So why don't you go right ahead, Robert? I think those are ready to pull out of there.
Okay.
And let's put them directly in the oil.
They go in here now.
Yes, they sure do. Look at our noodles.
Beautiful.
Robert, you have done this before, I can tell.
Oh yeah.
Hundreds of times. Okay, and see, once we get them in there, the noodles aren't sticking together because we've got some oil. Got some oil in the pan. We've got some garlic in the pan. We'll finish it with a little bit of salt and some pepper. And last thing, how about some Parmesan? Parsley, and we'll put some Parmesan. And then Robert, we got some bowls here. So you want to toss that together, and then we can go ahead and put it in a bowl and show them how we present your pasta. Robert Martin cooking pasta, everybody. Making pasta from scratch.
Oh, look at that.
Cooking. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful that
Delicious.
looks. I know. We're gonna have to fight over this one. Luckily, I've got my knife. All right, Robert, let's bring it over here. We'll go ahead and put some in a bowl. Do a nice little twirl on it. Let's do the other bowl. I'm gonna move that bowl. You move your pan over. There you go. Thank you, sir. Perfect. So we have two really nice servings of pasta here, ready for anybody who wants to eat. We want to make sure we get all that extra bit out of there. We don't want to throw anything away that we've cooked, do we, Robert?
No.
All right. So what do you say now, Robert? So make sure you all get in the kitchen.
Get in the kitchen. Sharpen your knife.
There you go.
Keep on cooking.
Keep on cooking, because Robert and I, we love to cook. It's what we do best, right?
Yes.
Robert, look in the camera and say, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Perfect. Thank you.